Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you something. When was the last time you stopped? Truly stop, not to scroll through your phone, not to binge watch a show, but to pause, reflect, and recalibrate. We live in a world that glorifies the hustle. Keep going, they say. Never stop. But let me share a secret with you. The power isn't always in the push. Sometimes the real power lies in the pause. In our fast-paced world, the concept of stopping can feel counterintuitive, even unnatural. We're conditioned to equate motion with progress, to believe that the more we do, the more we achieve. Yet, embedded in the very act of pausing is a profound power that often goes unnoticed. Recognizing the pause is about understanding that it's not a sign of weakness or defeat, but rather a deliberate strategic choice to create space for clarity, intention, and purpose. Pausing allows us to interrupt the relentless momentum of life. Think about a river rushing downstream, carrying with it debris, sediment, and noise. If you want to see the water clearly, you must dam the flow, even if only momentarily. Similarly, our minds and lives are often so consumed by the currents of tasks, responsibilities, and distractions that we lose sight of what truly matters. Stopping enables us to quiet the chaos, even if just for a moment, so we can regain perspective. In the pause, we can reconnect with ourselves. How often do we truly check in with our thoughts, emotions, or the state of our well-being? When we are constantly in motion, there's little room for introspection. Stopping allows us to ask important questions. Am I happy? Am I aligned with my values? Am I doing what I truly want? Or am I just going through the motions? These questions are not trivial. They are the foundation of a purposeful life. Recognizing the pause means giving yourself permission to listen to the answers, even if they require uncomfortable realizations or difficult changes. Moreover, pausing is an antidote to impulsive decision-making. When we're caught up in the urgency of the moment, we often react instead of respond. This can lead to choices that don't serve our long-term goals or reflect our best selves. The pause is a space where we can weigh our options, consider the consequences, and choose wisely. It's the breath between stimulus and response, a moment of power where we can reclaim control over our actions. There's also a restorative aspect to stopping. Just as a machine requires downtime for maintenance, we too need periods of rest to function optimally. Recognizing the pause means understanding that burnout is not a badge of honor. It's a signal that we've ignored the need to stop. Pausing isn't about giving up. It's about replenishing our energy, creativity, and focus so we can return stronger and more effective. Finally, pausing creates room for possibility. We're always moving. We can become fixated on one path, one solution, one way of being. But when we stop, we open ourselves to new perspectives. The act of pausing allows us to step outside the stream of our routines and see the broader landscape. It's often in these moments of stillness that inspiration strikes, solutions emerge, and transformation begins. Recognizing the pause is not about losing time, it's about gaining wisdom. It's a profound acknowledgement that sometimes the best way to move forward is to stop and truly see where you are. Reflection is one of the most underappreciated tools for personal growth and transformation. In a world driven by speed and accomplishment, taking time to reflect can feel like a luxury we can't afford. Yet it is precisely in these moments of stillness that we uncover insights, learn from our experiences, and chart a more intentional path forward. Reflection gives us the power to see our lives not just as a series of events, but as a connected narrative we can shape and influence. When we reflect, we step back from the immediacy of our lives to gain a broader perspective. Instead of being consumed by the day-to-day hustle, we take a moment to look at the bigger picture. What are we working toward? Are our actions aligned with our values? Are we investing our time and energy in what truly matters? These are questions that often go unanswered when we are in constant motion, yet they are essential for living a life of purpose and intention. Reflection allows us to pause and ask these questions, creating a space where clarity can emerge. One of the greatest benefits of reflection is the ability to learn from our experiences. Every success, failure, and challenge carries a lesson, but these lessons remain hidden unless we take the time to uncover them. Reflection helps us analyze what worked and why, what didn't, and how it can be improved. It turns every situation into an opportunity for growth. Without this process, we risk repeating the same mistakes or failing to build on our successes. Reflection transforms experiences into wisdom, which becomes a powerful resource for navigating the future. Reflection also deepens our connection to ourselves. It's a chance to tune into our emotions, thoughts, and inner dialogue. How often do we truly listen to ourselves? Reflection provides the space to do so, fostering self-awareness and emotional intelligence. By understanding our own patterns and reactions, we can make more conscious choices and respond to life with greater intentionality. It's through reflection that we identify the habits, beliefs, and attitudes that either propel us forward or hold us back. Moreover, reflection fosters gratitude and perspective. In the rush to achieve the next goal, it's easy to overlook how far we've come or the blessings we already have. Reflection reminds us to celebrate our progress and appreciate the journey. It shifts our focus from what's missing to what's meaningful, cultivating a sense of fulfillment and contentment. The act of reflection doesn't require elaborate rituals or endless hours. It can be as simple as journaling for a few minutes, meditating, or even sitting quietly with our thoughts. The key is intentionality, choosing to step away from the noise and dedicate time to look inward. This small investment of time can yield profound rewards, providing the insight, clarity, and direction we need to live more purposefully. In the stillness of reflection, we find not only the lessons of the past, but also the inspiration for what lies ahead. Momentum is a powerful force. It can carry us forward with ease when we're on the right track, but it can also keep us stuck in patterns, habits, or paths that no longer serve us. Breaking momentum is one of the most challenging but essential steps we must take when we realize that the direction we're heading isn't aligned with our goals, values, or well-being. It requires courage, intention, and a willingness to disrupt the rhythm that might feel comfortable but isn't constructive. The difficulty with momentum lies in its nature. Once something is set in motion, it tends to stay in motion unless acted upon by an external force. This principle, rooted in physics, applies equally to our lives. When we're in the midst of a routine, whether it's a job, relationship, habit, or way of thinking, it can feel easier to continue than to stop and question its value. Breaking momentum demands that we create that external force, a deliberate act of intervention that forces us to pause, evaluate, and redirect our energy. One of the most common reasons momentum persists unchecked is fear of change. Even when we know something isn't right for us, the idea of stopping can feel overwhelming. What happens if we leave that job, step out of that relationship, or abandon that project? There's uncertainty in stopping, and that uncertainty can feel more daunting than the discomfort of continuing. Yet breaking momentum is often the first step toward creating the space we need to pursue something better. It's an acknowledgement that while the unknown is intimidating, staying on a misaligned path is far more costly. Breaking momentum also requires self-awareness. We need to recognize when we're stuck in patterns that aren't serving us. This awareness often comes from reflection, taking the time to assess whether the trajectory we're on is truly leading us toward our goals. It's not always obvious when momentum has turned from a helpful push to a hindrance. Sometimes it takes a moment of clarity or an external wake-up call to realize that we need to shift course. Once we've identified the need to break momentum, the act itself involves decisiveness and action. It might mean saying no to commitments that drain us, setting boundaries, or making a bold change that disrupts the status quo. These steps can feel uncomfortable, even disruptive, but they're necessary for realignment. Breaking momentum isn't about creating chaos, it's about intentionally disrupting a cycle so that we can rebuild with purpose and clarity. The beauty of breaking momentum is that it opens the door to new possibilities. Once we stop moving in the wrong direction, we're free to choose a path that aligns more closely with who we are and where we want to go. It's not an easy process, but it's a powerful one. Breaking momentum is an act of reclaiming control, of refusing to let inertia dictate our lives, and of choosing growth over complacency. In that choice, we find the freedom to create a life that truly reflects our purpose and potential. Saying no is one of the most powerful and liberating acts we can perform, yet it's often one of the hardest. The word no carries a weight that can make us feel guilty, uneasy, or even selfish. Society has conditioned us to believe that saying yes is the polite, accommodating, and cooperative thing to do. But in reality, the ability to say no is a profound expression of strength, self-awareness, and respect for our time, energy, and priorities. Every time we say yes to something, we are simultaneously saying no to something else. This is a fundamental truth that many overlook. Our time and resources are finite, and when we agree to things that don't align with our goals or values, we deplete the energy that could be directed toward what truly matters. Strength in saying no is about recognizing this trade-off and being intentional about what we allow into our lives. It's understanding that our commitments shape our reality, and every yes has a cost. Saying no is not about rejecting people or opportunities arbitrarily. It's about setting boundaries that protect our well-being and focus. Boundaries are essential for maintaining balance in our lives. Without them, we risk becoming overwhelmed, overcommitted, and unable to give our best to anything. When we lack the strength to say no, we become reactive, allowing others to dictate our schedules and priorities. This can lead to frustration, resentment, and burnout. What makes saying no so difficult for many is the fear of disappointing others or being perceived as unkind. We worry about the impact of our refusal on relationships or reputations, but strength in saying no comes from understanding that our worth is not defined by our ability to please everyone. It's realizing that saying no is not an act of selfishness, it's an act of self-respect. It's about valuing our own needs and goals enough to protect them, even if it means temporarily disappointing someone else. When we say no, we are not closing doors, we are choosing to focus on the doors that truly matter. This requires clarity about our priorities. It's not enough to simply refuse something, we need to know why we're refusing it. This clarity empowers us to say no with confidence and grace. It allows us to communicate our decisions in a way that is firm yet respectful, ensuring that our relationships remain intact even as we assert our boundaries. Saying no also strengthens our sense of autonomy. It reminds us that we have the power to choose how we spend our time and energy. This sense of control is vital for building a life that aligns with our values and aspirations. The more we practice saying no, the easier it becomes, and the more we begin to see it as an act of empowerment rather than conflict. Ultimately, the strength to say no is a skill that enables us to lead more intentional, fulfilling lives. It's about understanding that our yes has value and should only be given to what truly deserves it. By saying no to what doesn't align, we make room for what does, ensuring that our lives reflect our truest priorities and potential. Life has a way of pulling us in multiple directions, often leaving us feeling drained, overwhelmed, and disconnected from our purpose. In such moments, the most important thing we can do is hit the reset button and recharge. Resetting and recharging are not acts of indulgence. They are vital processes that allow us to restore balance, regain clarity, and replenish the energy we need to move forward with intention and strength. Resetting begins with recognizing that we've reached a point where our current state is unsustainable. It's the acknowledgement that we cannot keep operating at full capacity without consequences. Whether it's physical exhaustion, mental burnout, or emotional fatigue, these signs are signals that something needs to change. Resetting is not about abandoning our goals or giving up, it's about taking a step back to recalibrate. It's a deliberate pause that allows us to assess where we are, how we got there, and what needs to shift to move forward effectively. Recharging, on the other hand, is about restoring the energy we've expended. Just as a smartphone can't function on an empty battery, we too need to replenish our reserves to function at our best. Recharging can take many forms, depending on what we need most in the moment. For some, it might mean physical rest, getting enough sleep, eating nourishing food, or engaging in gentle movement to restore the body. For others, it might mean emotional nourishment, such as spending time with loved ones practicing gratitude or engaging in activities that bring joy and fulfillment. One of the greatest benefits of resetting and recharging is the clarity it brings. When we're caught up in the busyness of life, it's easy to lose sight of our priorities and get swept away by the demands of the moment. Resetting gives us the space to reflect on what truly matters, helping us realign our actions with our values and goals. This renewed focus allows us to let go of distractions, eliminate unnecessary stressors, and create a sense of purpose in how we approach our days. Recharging also enhances our creativity and problem-solving abilities. When we're running on empty, our minds are less capable of thinking clearly or generating new ideas. Taking time to rest and recharge allows our brains to reset, often leading to breakthroughs and fresh perspectives. It's in these moments of renewal that we find solutions we couldn't see before and rediscover the motivation to tackle challenges with a renewed sense of purpose. Moreover, resetting and recharging cultivate resilience. Life is full of ups and downs, and maintaining our energy and focus requires us to bounce back from setbacks. By regularly pausing to reset, we build the capacity to navigate challenges with greater strength and adaptability. It's a proactive way of taking care of ourselves, ensuring that we're not just surviving but thriving. Resetting and recharging are acts of self-compassion, a reminder that we are human and not machines. They are opportunities to honor our limits, care for our well-being, and prepare ourselves for the road ahead. In embracing these practices, we empower ourselves to show up more fully, not just for our responsibilities, but for the life we truly want to live. Growth is a universal desire, whether it's personal, professional, or spiritual. Yet growth rarely occurs by accident. It requires intentionality, effort, and often a catalyst, a defining moment or experience that propels us beyond our comfort zones and into new possibilities. The catalyst for growth is not always a grand event. Sometimes it's a small, deliberate action or a change in perspective that sparks a profound transformation. It's in these moments that we are pushed or choose to push ourselves towards